Hello everyone and welcome to another very nice game from the Riga FIDE Grand Prix 2019. It's Alexander Grischuk versus Nikita Vitiugov. A lot of you have requested this game as it really is very nice. So two of the classical games have been drawn and now we enter the rapid games. Without further ado, let's check out the nice photo that we have of this matchup. There you have it, Grischuk on the left, Vitiugov on the right. Grischuk not looking at the board. Maybe not wanting Nikita to see through his preparation, and Vitiugov deep in thought, preparing to play the game. So let's check it out. We have knight to f3. The reti is on the board. We have knight to f6. Sorry about that. We have c4 e6, knight to c3, and now d5. Just challenging the center. We have d4, so going into the queen's gambit decline. We have knight b to d7, and now bishop to f4 by Grischuk. We have d captures on c4. Now comes e3, preparing to recapture on c4, and now knight to d5 is the mostly played move here, but we have knight to b6 by Vitiugov, seemingly defending the c4 pawn, but not really. Grischuk just grabs it and gives up the bishop pair quite early, but it is the line. The line goes this way. We have knight captures, and now queen to a4 check. We'll pick up the knight. c6 blocking check. Queen captures on c4, and now knight to d5, offering more trades. So Grischuk, of course, not interested in giving up the bishop, the dark square bishop. We have bishop to g3, and now queen to b6, going after the b2 pawn. And Grischuk defends it, queen to e2. It's okay to castle. I mean, it's the pawn isn't poisoned, but white will get a game if he sacrifices the pawn. Denis Kismatulin tried it in 2018 once, and the game ended in a draw, but it was a very nice game. But okay, Grischuk goes queen back to e2, defending the b2 pawn, and now bishop to b4, now challenging the knight here as, it's pinned, so now Vitiugov is preparing to capture it. Grischuk castles here, since the black king is still in the center. You don't mind giving up a pawn for some initiative. And now if you capture with the bishop, it's not all that great. If you capture with the bishop, captures, and captures comes with an attack on the queen, but queen d3 attacks the knight, and after knight d5, e4. Now, you can't go knight c7 since rook fb1 attacks the queen, and the queen really should keep an eye on the knight since the bishop is attacking c7. So you're probably going to go e7, but now white will prevent you from castling. Bishop to d6. Now you can't castle as your knight is under attack, and if queen d8, just queen to a3. Black still will not be able to castle. You're going to have to play f6, castle artificially, and ruin your pawn structure. So here, Vitiugov goes knight captures, pawn captures, bishop captures, attacks the rook, and rook ab1 just. We have an attack on the queen, queen back to d8, and now rook to b3. A very nice rook lift, with the idea that after these two pieces move away from the third rank and the pawn is pushed to e4, you will be able to transfer the rook over to the king side to use it, for attacks. Bishop back to a5, and now e4. And here, while it is okay to castle, first Vitiugov wants to gain some control of the e5 square. You don't want to allow knight e5, and also he's offering a trade of bishops. So here, if you trade bishops and you try something like knight to e5, yes, now the rook can come over to the king side to start an attack, but it's okay to castle, because now rook to h3, yes, you are threatening queen to h5, but black can defend just f6. You attack the knight, and after queen to h5, threatening to capture here, you will play g5, and now the queen from c7 guards h7, that's the point, and now the knight has to go back, and the game continues. But after bishop to c7, Grischuk not interested in trading bishops. With bishop to h4, attacking the queen, and now queen to d7. Just getting the queen out of the way and preparing to castle. We have rook to d1 here, and now what do you play here? This is kind of the point of the game, because this is one of the positions where it's not only okay to play f6, it's actually the best move. Here you have to prevent knight e5, and f6 is the only way to do it. And even though you're not really preventing e5, white will play knight to e5 because he wants to open up the d file. But now you can just move the queen, queen e7, and after queen to h5 check, you can play g6 because knight captures on g6 doesn't work here. You're gonna just play queen to f7. h7, and white loses a piece here. So here, after g6, you will have to play queen to h6, but now queen to f8 kicks the queen back, so it's not a problem. You've prevented white's attack, and after the queen moves, you will then be able to consolidate. But Vitiugov here played castles, and now it simply doesn't work. So I would ask you to pause the video here and try to find the best move for white, but as I already told you that f6 is the best move in that position, Grischuk played knight to e5 here, and it's really hard to pinpoint why this is just winning for white, but it is. It's really just a beautiful move, because if you capture the knight, bishop captures, pawn captures, then you've opened up well, an attack towards the queen, and after the queen moves, it doesn't matter if the queen moves to e8 or to c7, the attack continues in the same fashion. For example, after queen to e8, you will get a rook to d8 is possible, and the white does get an advantage, but black will just grab material for the queen. The best continuation for white is bishop to f6, and now just everything wins for white. There's no way to defend here. If you capture the bishop, then just queen to g4 check, king moves, and now queen to h4 with the threat of queen captures on f6, followed by rook to g3 mate. And after black defends, queen e7, now you go rook to h3, and there's no defense against rook captures on h7. So this is one of the possibilities. On the other hand, after bishop to f6, if you don't capture it, you can play g6. Maybe you want to play something like that. Then you get a really beautiful queen to h5. And now either white will play queen h6 followed by queen g7 mate, or black will capture and then it's mate in one, rook g3, because the bishop covers the dark squares. And other than that, if you don't capture or even play g6, if you try something completely different, I mean, there is really no good move to play here. Whatever you play, let's say bishop d7, the attack just happens by itself. It's just queen g4, you attack, threaten checkmate, and after g6 we get the same idea, just queen h5, and now it's either again mate with queen h6 followed by queen g7, or captures and mate in one. So after knight to e5, Vitiugov decides, okay, we're not touching this knight, let's just move the queen. He played queen to e8, but now again, does queen e8 really change all that much? No, Grischuk just continues bishop to f6. And now if you trade bishop captures, pawn captures, we already get the same position that we've just analyzed, so we're not even gonna consider capturing. What do you play here? Bishop to d8. Vitiugov wants to trade the bishops, but now again, feel free to pause the video and try to continue this attack for white. There is only one good attacking idea here, and I'm sure you all know where this is going. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations, you are an excellent attacker. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, bishop captures on g7. And now, if you don't capture, then you're just lost. I mean, rook g3 is coming, you can even grab rook and be up material. So obviously the only answer is to capture the bishop, which is what Nikita played with king captures on g7. Here, rook to g3 check, and now you only have two viable options. The problem is king to f6 is a forced mate, and it's a very nice forced mate. Queen f3 check, king to e7, now queen to a3 check, the knight covers d7, so you have to go back, king to f6, and now knight to d7 check, making room for e5 while the queen covers the e7 square. Black has to capture, doesn't really matter with what, bishop captures, now comes e5, and now these squares are not available for you, you have to go down the board, king f5, and queen to f3 is checkmate. So after rook to g3 check, Vitiugov decided to go king to h8, but now Grischuk just played queen to h5, and it was in this position that Nikita Vitiugov resigned the game. And since the two classical games were drawn, Grischuk won both the game with white and black in the rapids, so he knocked out Nikita Vitiugov from the Riga FIDE Grand Prix. Very, very exciting game. The game where Grischuk had the black pieces was also very nice, but this is just demolishing. So here you don't really have a good reply to rook h3 and queen to h7 mate. If you try rook g8 to maybe block it off, it doesn't really work, because now knight captures on f7, you cannot move the king, you have to give up the queen, and now it's all over. And if you don't move the rook, you could try something like queen e7 to push f5, f5 to guard the h7 pawn, but after rook to h3 and, well, f5, you get this very nice check, very nice family fork here. There you have it. Sorry, my coloring is off today. No capturing is possible here because the pawn is pinned. You have to move. King g8 now comes captures with check, and now it's, well, mate in one. So after queen to h5, Vitiugov resigned, and a very nice victory for Alexander Grischuk. Very happy you've requested this game, as I might not have seen it. There are a lot of games, as there are a lot of players, since it's only the beginning of the Grand Prix, and as there are so many, things that happened before the quarterfinals, I will just put a link to it in the description below, so you can check out all the games that have finished and how they finished, and only after the quarterfinals we will be showing the standings. That's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Michael Cabral, Frank Combs, and Mikolai Malashinsky for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check all my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully with some more interesting content. And don't forget, even though everyone says it's never okay to play f6, this is one such example where it's not only okay to play f6, it is the best move. So always check, maybe f6 just works in your position. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.